There's a moment people rarely admit out loud, not when things fall apart, not when someone leaves, but when things start to feel real. They get closer, more present, more available. And instead of feeling more, you feel less. Less excited, less emotional, less connected. You don't panic, you don't miss them. You just feel numb. And that's the moment most people quietly disappear. Let's be clear about something first. This is not you losing feelings. This is not you being cold. This is not you suddenly realizing you don't care. What's happening here isn't emotional, it's biological. Because for many people, closeness doesn't activate love. It deactivates the nervous system response they've mistaken for connection. Think back, in relationships where you felt the most alive, there was tension, uncertainty, waiting, reading signals, wondering where you stood. Your nervous system was alert, and alertness felt like chemistry. So when someone shows up calmly, your system doesn't spike, it quiets, and quiet feels unfamiliar, sometimes even empty. Here's the uncomfortable truth. For a nervous system trained in emotional unpredictability, calm doesn't feel safe, it feels boring, or flat, or meaningless. Not because it is, but because your body isn't working overtime anymore. No guessing, no scanning, no preparing for loss. So instead of thinking, I'm safe, your body thinks, something's missing. This is where shutdown happens. Not dramatic withdrawal, not conflict, just emotional dimming. You respond slower, you feel less, you stop initiating, and from the outside, it looks like disinterest. But internally, it's regulation. Your nervous system is conserving energy because it doesn't recognize this state as connection. This is why people pull away right when things stabilize. Not because they don't want intimacy, but because intimacy removes the stress that once signaled love. Without stress, your system loses its reference point. And when the body loses reference, the mind looks for an exit. This is where the idea of spark becomes dangerous. Because spark isn't always attraction. Often it's activation, anticipation, anxiety, emotional highs and drops, relief after fear. That's not depth, that's survival. Real intimacy doesn't hijack your nervous system, it settles it. And settlement can feel strangely quiet at first. Have you noticed this part? You pull away, and then you feel guilty, because they didn't do anything wrong. They were consistent, kind, available. And you don't know how to explain why you suddenly feel distant. So you say things like, I don't know what I want. I need space. It's not you. And in a way, that's true. It isn't them. It's the pattern. This isn't avoidance because you're broken. It's adaptation. At some point, closeness meant risk. Connection meant instability. Love meant vigilance. So your system learned. Distance equals safety. Control equals calm. Detachment equals protection. That learning didn't disappear just because you grew up. Healing doesn't mean forcing yourself to feel more. It means staying present long enough for calm to register as connection. At first, intimacy will feel neutral, then awkward, then unfamiliar, and only later, grounded. That transition is where most people leave, because they confuse unfamiliar with wrong. Instead of asking, why don't I feel more? Ask this, what does my body expect love to feel like? That question shifts everything, from blaming yourself to understanding the system. If you pull away when love gets real, it doesn't mean you're incapable of intimacy. It means your nervous system learned connection under different conditions. And conditions can change, but only if you stop mistaking intensity for truth. This channel exists to help you recognize patterns before they decide your relationships for you. If this resonated, subscribe and stay. This content is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for therapy, diagnosis, or professional mental health treatment. If these patterns feel overwhelming or unsafe, please seek support from a qualified mental health professional.